For 25 long years, we've been chasing a ghost. A legendary treasure shrouded in mystery and hope, the One Piece. Countless theories have been born along the way. Some said it was gold, an unimaginable fortune capable of buying the world. Others believed it to be an ancient weapon, powerful enough to shift the balance of the planet. There were those who thought it was forbidden knowledge, the hidden truth of the Void Century. But maybe we've all been looking in the wrong direction. Because in the end, the question was never, what is the One Piece? It was always, what does the One Piece do? For years, we've tried to fit the pieces of a puzzle that seemed to have no end. Roger, the man who reached the summit, smiled in front of the treasure and called that moment of laughter and tears the final laugh. Luffy, the heir to the same dream, seeks not power or wealth, but something more pure, something that transcends any material reward. And Joy Boy, the man who failed to fulfill his promise, left behind a legacy of regret and hope. All of this, Roger, Luffy, Joy Boy, is connected by an invisible thread, a cycle of dreams and destinies that spans across ages. And now, after all this time, I think I finally understand. The One Piece is not just a treasure, it's the realization of an ideal. It's the laughter that unites the world, the promise of absolute freedom, the celebration of life in its truest form. The One Piece is the link that connects the past to the future. It's the proof that even in a world marked by pain and injustice, we can still laugh together. It's the sound of joy that echoes above the waves, the same sound that made Roger laugh at the end, and that will make Luffy laugh when his dream is finally realized. And this truth is more beautiful and more heartbreaking than any gold, any weapon, any secret. Because the One Piece in the end doesn't just change the world, it changes the heart of those who truly understand it. Let's begin with the only concrete reaction we have to the One Piece. Gil D. Roger, a man who had conquered the seas, a man standing at the edge of his own death, reached the final island and he laughed. He didn't gasp in awe of its power. He didn't marvel at its wealth. No, Roger and his entire crew laughed until tears streamed down their faces. He laughed so hard, in fact, that he named the island Laugh Tale. This is the single most important clue in the entire series. What kind of treasure makes you laugh? Gold doesn't. An ancient weapon doesn't. A map to world domination doesn't. No, laughter is a reaction to something else, to a story, to an absurdity, to the punchline of a cosmic joke. Roger didn't laugh because he found something tangible. He laughed because he found a truth, an idea, a revelation that broke him, that changed him at a fundamental level. Think of Whitebeard on his deathbed. With his last breath, he confirmed that finding the One Piece would turn the world upside down. This isn't something that a pile of gold can do. This isn't something an ancient weapon can do. A truth like that, a story so powerful, so tragic, and so utterly ridiculous, would shatter everything we know. It would tear down the very fabric of reality and leave those who hear it gasping for air, rethinking everything they've ever known. We've spent all this time thinking of the One Piece as a physical object, a prize, a goal to be claimed. But we've been asking the wrong question. The One Piece isn't an object. It's a message. A story that, once told, can never be untold. This is why the world's greatest powers like the Gorosei fear it. They don't fear it because of its destructive capabilities. They fear it because of its ideological power. A weapon can be countered. A weapon can be destroyed. But a story that redefines everything, cannot be erased. Once it is out there, once it is known, there is no going back. And that's why they are terrified. Because the One Piece is not just a treasure to be coveted, it's a truth to be spread. It is a truth that will ignite the hearts of the people and unravel the lies that have held the world in place for centuries. The One Piece is not something you find. It's something you read. The theory is this: the One Piece isn't just a treasure in the traditional sense. It's the final poneglyph, or possibly a collection of ancient artifacts, containing the full, unfiltered story of Joy Boy's life. This isn't just another dry historical record like the other poneglyphs. No, this is something entirely different. It's a deeply personal diary, a heartfelt confession, a living, breathing testament to Joy Boy's dreams, his triumphs, and his ultimate, catastrophic failure. Within its pages lies a tale of his unfulfilled promise to Poseidon, his friendship with the ancient, intelligent island Zenesha, and his idealistic vision for a world where all races could live together, united under the same sun. But it's more than just a recounting of events. It's imbued with Joy Boy's very essence. His spirit, his will, his hopes, his dreams, all of it is embedded in the words. It's the pinnacle of the voice of all things, a living story that speaks directly to the hearts of those who are worthy of hearing it. When someone with the will of D, someone who can truly hear the voice of all things, reads this story, they don't simply learn about Joy Boy. They experience his life. They feel his joy, his love, his hope, and most poignantly, his regret. It's not just words on a page. It's an emotional and spiritual journey, a visceral experience that touches the soul. Roger laughed because in that moment he didn't just read about Joy Boy's life. He lived it. He felt the boundless freedom, the wild joy, the optimism of a man who believed that a perfect world could exist. But then he turned the final page and was confronted with something entirely unexpected. He found Joy Boy's heartfelt apology for failing to keep his promise. A man with such a grand dream, whose heart was filled with the purest ideals, had left behind nothing but failure and sorrow. That's why Roger laughed. It wasn't just a story of triumph, it wasn't just a tale of adventure. It was a cosmic joke, the most absurd punchline in history. The man who was named Joy Boy, a symbol of hope and freedom, had failed so spectacularly that his legacy was one of sorrow. And yet, that sorrow didn't erase his joy. It didn't erase the depth of his dream. Roger saw the humor in the tragic irony of it all. It was the funniest and saddest story he had ever known. It was a cruel cosmic irony, a man who wanted nothing more than to change the world, yet was never able to fulfill his destiny. But in that laughter, Roger also saw something deeper. He saw himself. He saw a kindred spirit, a reflection of his own adventurous and carefree nature. He saw someone who, like him, had been driven by an unshakable dream, and who had placed everything on the line, only to have that dream slip through their fingers. The final failure of Joy Boy wasn't just an isolated tragedy. It was personal. It was a mirror of Roger's own journey, his own inevitable downfall. And that is why Roger laughed. It wasn't just a history lesson. It wasn't just about the past. It was a mirror of his own life, of all the hopes, dreams, and disappointments he had ever faced. Roger's laughter wasn't one of mockery, but of understanding. He had lived the same kind of life. He had faced the same cosmic irony. And so, with his final laugh, he embraced it, and in doing so he unknowingly passed the torch to Luffy, who would carry the same dream forward in his own way with his own trials and failures to come. If the idea that the One Piece is a story that makes you relive Joy Boy's entire life just changed everything for you, then help us share this message. Leave a like to show that you've heard the voice. And if you want to be there for the final chapter, subscribe to One Piece Secrets and join the grand fleet of theorists. But here's where the theory truly deepens. The One Piece isn't just a passive story, it is the key to unlocking the true, unimaginable power of the Nika fruit. This connection is crucial and is where the ultimate potential of the One Piece lies. Vegapunk once theorized that devil fruits are born from human desire, specifically the most powerful collective desires of humanity. And the One Piece represents the most powerful desire in history. It is not just a treasure, not just a collection of memories. It is Joy Boy's dream of a free, united world, distilled into a single, undeniable narrative. A story so profound that it has the power to transform everything it touches. This is why the One Piece cannot simply be understood as an artifact. It is a catalyst. When the true heir of Joy Boy's will, the one who not only carries the will of D, but also possesses the awakened Nika fruit, reads the One Piece, something incredible will occur. The story will not simply be experienced or understood, it will be actualized. Imagine this, the new Joy Boy, Luffy, upon reading the story will relive Joy Boy's dream, feeling the weight of his joy, his boundless optimism, his failure, and his regret. But it's more than just an emotional journey. This experience will unlock the true power of the Nika fruit. In that moment, Luffy will gain the power to fulfill Joy Boy's promise, not just as a continuation of the past, but as its completion. In essence, the One Piece will serve as the final software update for the Nika fruit. Once Luffy's will is perfectly aligned with Joy Boy's original dream, a dream of freedom, unity, and a world without oppression, the Nika fruit will be activated in its ultimate form. The fruit's power will no longer be about abstract freedom or overwhelming physical strength. It will allow the user to turn their imagination into reality, to shape the world according to their vision, their dream, their ideals. This is why Roger was too early. He read the One Piece and understood its significance, but he lacked the final piece, the awakened Nika fruit. He could hear the story, but without the hardware, without the fruit's full potential unlocked, he couldn't execute its ultimate command. He was a reader, not the protagonist. He found the script, but he was not the one meant to perform it. In other words, Roger was too early to be the hero. He was destined to be the one who discovers the treasure, but not the one who would fulfill its promise. The Nika fruit, then, is the engine of change, the raw potential for shaping the world. But the One Piece is the navigation chart, It is the map that shows the user where to go and what to do once the power is unleashed. Without the One Piece to guide the way, the Nika Fruit's power is just ridiculous. A joke. It's a dream without purpose, a force without direction. But with the One Piece, it becomes world-changing. The One Piece isn't simply a collection of riches or a key to ultimate power. It is the last missing piece that allows the Nika Fruit to become a force for real, tangible change. It's the final step that aligns Luffy's heart and will with Joy Boy's dream, transforming his power from something whimsical and absurd into something truly world-altering. The One Piece is the catalyst that turns a man with the power of a god into a man who can enact the will of a god. So, what happens when Luffy finally finds the One Piece? The answer is simple yet world-changing. Luffy will read Joy Boy's story. He will experience the full weight of Joy Boy's dream, a dream that has been passed down through centuries, a dream that has seen both triumph and tragic failure. But Luffy's reaction will be different from Roger's. Roger laughed because he saw the absurd, tragic irony of Joy Boy's story. But when Luffy laughs, it won't be just the laughter of a man who found a funny or ironic tale. It will be the laughter of Nika, the laughter of liberation, the primal, free and unrestrained joy of someone who finally understands their purpose. Luffy's laughter will be infused with the full weight of Joy Boy's 800-year-old dream, a dream of a world where all people, all races, all nations can live freely together. It will be the laughter of liberation not just for Luffy, but for everyone who has suffered under tyranny, oppression, and the chains of the world's injustice. It will be the laughter of the man who is about to fulfill that promise. And then he will fulfill the promise. The One Piece will give him the why and the how. It will show him the final blueprint, the ultimate plan to reshape the world. Perhaps it will contain the means to destroy the Red Line, the insurmountable wall that divides the seas and keeps the world fractured. By doing so, it will create the All Blue, the one place where all the seas merge and every fish can swim freely. It will be the final, tangible step toward Joy Boy's vision of a unified world. But the One Piece won't just stop there. It will also give Luffy the conviction to fulfill the prophecy of destroying Fishman Island, not as a catastrophe, but as a necessary step to bring its people to the surface and unite them with the rest of the world. The One Piece will be the catalyst that allows Luffy to confront the forces of nature and society itself, with his Gear 5 abilities now amplified by the will of the One Piece. These powers will no longer just be an abstract force of nature. They will be the embodiment of Joy Boy's dream in action, giving Luffy the freedom to reshape the world according to the ideals he has inherited. Luffy won't just be a pirate fighting against the world government. He will become a force of nature, a living, breathing revolution. His very presence will be capable of transforming the world itself. He won't need a weapon of mass destruction because his will, combined with the powers of the Nika Fruit and the One Piece, will allow him to literally reshape reality. The world won't be turned upside down with violence or a destructive weapon. Instead, it will be transformed by the will of one person who can see the future, a future of freedom, unity, and equality, and has the power to make it a reality. The One Piece is not just a treasure, it is the ultimate inherited will. A dream so powerful that it transcends time, crossing centuries and generations, waiting for the right person to inherit it, understand it, and make it come true. It's not just a fantasy, it's a blueprint for the future, a plan for a better world, one that only the right builder can bring to life. And in Luffy, the One Piece has found that builder. I finally understand. The One Piece is not the end of the journey. It is, in fact, the beginning of the final act, the true start of Luffy's story and the fulfillment of a dream that has spanned centuries. The One Piece is not just a treasure. It is the universe's most powerful story, a message in a bottle that has been waiting for 800 years to be found, to be understood, and to be answered. Joel D. Roger was the one who discovered the bottle, who saw its significance, but he was too early. He found the message, but he could not read it in full. He lacked the key, the understanding, and most importantly, the heart to finish the story. That role fell to Luffy, the one who will finally read the message and answer its call. The treasure isn't gold. It's not power. It's not a weapon of mass destruction. The true treasure is a purpose so grand and so all-encompassing that it has required the lineage of Deus, the prophecies scattered across the world, and a boy made of rubber to finally bring it to fruition. The One Piece was never meant to be found by just anyone. It had to be found by the one person whose heart was pure enough, whose will was strong enough, to hear the saddest story in the world, and still, after all the pain and the failure, to laugh. And that laughter will be the key to fulfilling the One Piece's true purpose. It will be the catalyst that transforms not only Luffy's world but the entire world itself. The treasure is both a burden and a gift, a tragedy and a comedy. It's the weight of a dream that was never realized but now, at last, it will be. It's the weight of Joy Boy's legacy, passed on through the generations, looking for the one person who can carry it and make it real. That person is Luffy, the man who carries with him an immense joy, a boundless optimism and a deep loyalty to the people he loves. Luffy is the one who will bear this weight not for his own gain but for everyone. And this is where the true power of the One Piece lies. The treasure is not about taking, it's about giving. Luffy will not use the One Piece for himself. He will use it to bring joy to the rest of the world, to fulfill the dream that Joy Boy could not, to reshape the world into a place where freedom, unity, and understanding are no longer just ideals but realities. But, what do you think is written in Joy Boy's final message? What do you think the One Piece will say? What will Luffy find when he reads that story and hears the call of the past, of Joy Boy and of Roger's laughter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and until next time on One Piece Secrets.